what brought you to start producing events?
Events. Okay, events. Really, where I live, it was just a matter of, just like anywhere I think in the country or in the world, really, it's if you want to do something a certain way, sometimes you just have to do it yourself. So I really just decided there was something missing and there wasn't somebody doing what I wanted to hear. So I started putting on my own events and started doing sound and got enamored with sound systems. And the only way to set up a big sound system was to do an event and play good music on it.
How long have you been DJing and producing?
DJing for a little over 15 years, producing casually for maybe 10 years, but really I started projects maybe about 2 years ago and started putting out records, and now that stuff is out.
And do you find it difficult to perform and produce event at the same time?
No, I mean DJing really is my first love. I would say I'm a DJ first, I'm a producer second. Unfortunately, in the way things are these days, it's hard to get known as a DJ only. So to get your name out there, to get an opportunity to go out and DJ, you had to produce music and put out records. So that kind of has helped expand what I do as a DJ to more people.
Being part of the electronic and dance music scene takes effort and often doesn't pay well. I've read somewhere that you had to sell your sound system to pay your debt. And after such hardship, what kept you doing this?
I mean, really, I've always done this out of love and out of passion. I mean, I eat, shit, and sleep music. So I mean, this is what I do. So I opened a nightclub for a few years, and I got into some debts with that nightclub. And when we finally shut it down, I had an opportunity to get out of my debt by selling some of my sound. And in the end, really, it was one of the best decisions I made, because getting rid of that responsibility allowed me the freedom to make music and allowed me the freedom to get myself here. So.
And back in Detroit, you used to book Derek May in your parties. How did you record ended up on his label, and how does it feel to be on Transmat?
Well, Derek and I had an interesting relationship. I had a chance to book Derek a number of times over the last 10 years, and we just kind of became friends outside of the music. And then I was actually in Detroit working, doing audio. It's one of the things I used to do. And Derek and I hung out for a few weeks, kind of every other day. And we were listening to music in his studio, and I played some music for him, and he said, "Oh, what's this?" And I said, "Oh, these are mine." So he suddenly took an interest into what I was making, and he decided to put out a record. And I mean, really, for me, being on Transmat is legendary. It's one of the records that it's one of the labels that I grew up on, and it's something that I've, in my collection on my wall, I have a Transmat section with all of his records. So for me to have a record on there is it's something special.
Talking about encounters, how would you describe your first meeting with Ben Clark, and what did this bring to you?
Sure. So meeting Ben was really funny, because Derek taking my music and meeting Ben actually happened within a few months of each other, but were totally unplanned, either one of them. Ben and I met because he was in Minneapolis, where I live, and I was doing a live performance, which I've only done 3 ever. And he happened to be playing at a club that night, and after the club, he came to the party where I was doing my live performance. And he's one of those guys where after the club, he didn't want to go out, but the guys who brought him said, "You got to go hear this guy. You have to go hear him." And he came, he heard me play, and we kept in touch. And he just asked me, he said, "Do you put out records?" And I said, "No." He said, "Do you want to?" I said, "It's probably a good time to do it." And so he really pushed me and kind of gave me a unique perspective and gave me an ear. And he really has pushed me along the way and kind of given me some good insight on things. So my relationship with him is really good.
What kind of software gear are you using to perform your live set?
Sure. I used to have an analog studio, but then over the years, time restraints and just the way I work, I ended up going to Reason, and I've been using Reason since its first like Reason 1. Now it's up to Reason 5. When I do my live set, I do Reason basically with 2 setups, a DJ mixer in the middle, 2 keyboards, 2 controllers. I don't use any sync in between them, and all of my tracks are started out, they're just loops. So there's nothing when I play it that's a full track. It's basically up to me to manipulate it and change it and work through it on the fly. So the way I work my live set is I start on one machine and I start playing, and when I get tired of what I'm doing there, I start a new loop on the next one, and I mix it like records, and I have to time it right because there's no sync in between the machines. So I'm trying to do it as analog as I can using a digital interface.
And do you prefer performing live or using turntables?
At the moment, turntables. I mean, DJing, like I said, that's my love. That's where I get my passion. That's where I get my energy from. Performing live was amazing, but the way I do it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work, and it took a lot out of me to put those together. So I'm definitely going to do it again, but it's going to be a while before I do another live one.
And my last question would be, how does it feel? How does it make you feel to see the crowd in front of you at Igloofest react with the way that you can now manipulate the music and sounds?
I mean, this is going to be great. I live in Minnesota where it's cold, and this is cold, and I just know what it's like to be outdoors. And these people are here because they want to be here. They're not going anywhere. So the energy here, even just being off the side of the stage right now, I can already feel, even though it's mellow and the music is perfect to get things warmed up, this is going to be awesome. I mean, it's just going to be really great to feel their energy back. I feed off people's energy, so I know manipulating the sound and giving these guys something to scream for, something to jump for, it's going to feed back to me and make me play a little different. So I'm looking forward to it.